Hi, my name is Yasin Goev. This video is about the recent developments around United Group, and they are interesting, so keep up with me. The first development is that Dragan Šolak, the minority shareholder, has won the case against a company of BC Partners regarding a bonus payment for the assets of United Group in Serbia. To give you things to give you the perspective, after trying to sell the whole company United Group and deciding not to sell it, the shareholders actually sold certain assets in Serbia, mainly the company SBB. It's a cable operator in Serbia, and also some other media assets. SBB was sold to ENT PF Telecom Group. This is 51% ENT from the United Arab Emirates and 49 PPF Czech fund managed by Renata Kelnerova. And the media assets were sold to the state-owned Telecom Serbia. After this, there was the scandal that started in mid-June by removing Mr. Dragan Šolak, minority shareholder with around 40% of the shares in United Group. BC Partners has 55%. And removing him as head of actually the supervisory board, and removing Victoria Boklak as CEO. And there were two cases, one about the bonus payment, which now is settled, and another one in the Netherlands, where the first hearing is on the 16th of October. United Group is registered in the Netherlands, and it's about reinstating Mr. Šolak and Mrs. Boklak. And the other thing is about the fact that this sale of SBB should be followed by distribution of dividend. Probably what was said publicly, that in the company currently, so the assets were sold for 1.5 billion, that there is 1 billion, and he hopes probably to get his fair share, which is probably around 400 million. But let me start with the first development from last week in London. The information comes from Bloomberg. A firm owned by BC Partners LLP has agreed to pay a disputed 250 million euro bonus to the ousted founder of United Group BV, according to a British court ruling, Bloomberg reported. The company owned by founder Dragan Šolak sued the BC Partners controlled company in London, claiming it was denied a bonus totaling 250 million euro that it was promised during the sale of the Serbian cable operator SBB and other media assets. The British court ruled that BC Partners owned firm must pay Šolak the money according to an order published on Thursday with the consent of all parties. This represents a complete and final victory for our client in relation to the long overdue debts, said Simon Walsh, the lawyer representing Šolak in the London proceedings. According to the court ruling, BC Partners will make the payment after deducting any taxes owed to Luxembourg tax authorities. BC Partners declined to comment, according to Bloomberg. In order to understand the whole story, I will remind you about the conversation between the new CEO of United Group, Stan Miller, and the CEO of the state-owned Telecom Serbia, Miller-Lucic. Just to make a small joke, of course it will be out of context, as United Group said that this is a true representation, it's a true recording, but they said that the things that are said in the recording are put out of context. So this is not the whole conversation. Some things are missing. I just quote things that I think that are important. So listen to that. I will put the link you can find from the conversation in the video below, but I will quote only certain things, and they are: Mr. Miller says, I cannot fire Alexander today as we discussed. Okay, I need to make the company very small in Serbia, if you understand what I mean, and separate it. Now I understand that the president called you and is very upset, and I can understand, but I need to find a way to do it fast, quick. I don't know what Nikos promised you or somebody promised you, but I will do everything to help you, Vlada. Vlada, this is Vladimir Lucic, the CEO of Telekom Serbia. Yes, the same situation as in United Group. You have directors of media and you have Alexander Subotic. That is actually not on some formally big position. So this is President asked Nikos in fast way to replace only Alexander Subotic, not directors of N1 and Nova. He was aware that it is difficult now to change the directors of N1 without a reorganization. Short comment. I don't know what is out of context, but what I understand, probably I understand it not correctly, but that's how I understand it. I understand that Mr. Vucic wants a change in Nova S and N1. And he wants a change in the way they report the news. And he was told that actually it will take time, that first they need to change the CEO of United Media, and that it's a bit hard to change the guys that are in charge of both TV stations. But actually it looks like this was, the whole idea. The whole thing of the conversation is to say that something was promised, it did not happen, but they are working on it. And let me continue, because I made a lot of comments also in Bulgarian media about the whole scandal. But here the next news is a comment on behalf of Forbes. Forbes is published under a license in Serbia, and this license is to a company part of United Group, part of United Media. So listen to what Forbes have to say. Once again, that are not the exact words in English, because I got it from the Serbian publication on the website of N1. So it's not 100% correct, but it's pretty close, I believe. Forbes sent a letter to United Media and United Group Netherlands office and BC Partners. Forbes Serbia is a licensed publication of the international Forbes Group, published in Serbia by Adria News, part of United Media. Allegations of political influence over independent media companies cannot be tolerated. The most important element of Forbes editorial standards and policies, which has been cornerstone of Forbes editorial framework since Forbes magazine was founded over 100 years ago, is the editorial integrity and independence that we demand of all our licensees. Any allegations of coercion regarding reporting and coverage by third parties, including political organizations or individuals, whether in connection with Forbes Serbia or other publications or media companies affiliated with the licensee, violate these principles and provisions of the agreement. This is very interesting. So, what Forbes is saying, they don't have any information that something is wrong with the way Forbes Serbia operates. But that's not enough. They have requirement towards the whole United Group, and they have listened to the conversation between Miller and Lucic, and as you will hear, they are not happy. As a result of the troubling media coverage, please note that Forbes is closely monitoring not only the content related to Forbes Serbia, but also reports and allegations coming from the region regarding United Group as a whole. The letter signed by Niki Koval, Forbes Media's Vice President and Assistant General Counsel responsible for international licensing and brand expansion, said, "The headquarters cannot allow the reputation of the Forbes brand to be damaged or associated with the media company that's alleged to be cooperating with a political party or individual or is in any way connected to them. We believe that Forbes Serbia and United Group and their shareholders share Forbes values and will adhere to these policies as well as the terms of the license agreement. However, If Forbes determines that there are violations of the agreement based on such actions or that the reputation of the Forbes brand is damaged, we will consider such actions to be violation of the agreement and will take appropriate measures, the letter added. Now, we move to the position of United Group. It is very interesting one, and I will comment on every place where I think that it's important to make a comment. So let's start with it. United Group rejects false and misleading claims that the group is seeking to curtail or otherwise compromise the editorial independence of N1 and Nova TV channels in Serbia or sell them to Telekom Serbia or entities linked to the Serbian state. These allegations are false. United Group's news business operates under a clear separation between commercial management and editorial decision making, and the company makes a clear distinction between editorial and executive staff. News independence is sacrosanct to the current management and the majority shareholder BC Partners and will never be influenced by any political interference or consideration. Editorial choices for N1 and Nova are taken by the editorial teams, not by United Group executives, and there has been no interference by current management. This is clearly demonstrated by recent news reporting at N1 and Nova, which has continued in an entirely independent manner. What a role the previous management played in influencing editorial decision and news content to suit their own agenda remains an open question. Some concerns have been raised by Telekom Serbia about the conduct of Aleksandar Subotic, who is not a member of the editorial staff at any United Group news organization, and these are being investigated in line with our policies and procedures. United Group and its majority shareholder BC Partners have been working on a model to secure and fortify the editorial independence of N1 and Nova news channels. I will make a stop here because this is an attempt a bit to move the attention from the recording. If you go back, you will see that the request is there to remove Aleksandar Subotic, and of course she is not in charge of editorial policies, but people below her in United Media are, and actually in the statement that I read you in the recording, Stan Miller is saying that it's not so easy to change directors in both TV stations. That is possible to happen after reorganization, which also will take time. You know, the truth is that so far neither Aleksandar Subotic is removed nor any of the directors or editors in the two TV stations. But that's the situation so far. Let's continue with the editorial independence issue. Measures under consideration include strengthening editorial charters, non-interference covenants, channel-level independence oversight, and external ombudsperson function. In early July, two leading international advisors were engaged to support this work. The objective is to ensure that editorial independence remains robust and insulated from non-business and political considerations. The group's current management has never had any plans to sell its new assets to Telekom Serbia or any other state-linked entity. The only discussion that have taken place involving the potential sale of N1 and Nova were held under the previous management. Full stop. Let me explain something. Decisions for selling of assets of any company are taken by the owners. And they cannot be taken by the management. And taking a position and saying the current management, the previous management, this is not important. What is important is what the owners want. So you will hear the story, which is very important and told by United Group themselves, or to say from the current management. But it's important to know that Dragan Šolak is an owner. And of course, in a process where they tried to sell the whole company, they did not succeed for whatever reasons. And they sold some of the assets. Of course, they tried to see if selling other assets is possible and how to do that. So listen the story. Some recent media speculation about the Serbian news operations has been intertwined with the ongoing shareholder dispute. Any suggestions that discussions to alter the structure of news assets or sell Serbian businesses originate from the current management are false and deliberately misleading. Documented correspondence from January 2025 shows that the group's founder and minority shareholder, Dragan Šolak, via his long-time close associate Vladislav Ratajac, approached Telekom Serbia with proposals to take N1 and Nova off television in Serbia in return for a lump sum of approximately 120 million euro. The news channels would have been removed from cable satellite lineups and run as internet-only channels. Sell the Serbian news assets to third party, sell other parts of the Serbian business to Telekom Serbia, such as Shopstar and The Express. This is in addition to a 200 million bonus demanded by Šolak from summer parent United Group's Ultimate Parent company for purportedly facilitating the self-United Group Serbian businesses. Full stop here, they are speaking about 200 million, but the case and the reporting of Bloomberg says about 250 million. I continue, and N1 and Nova editorial staff appear to have been kept in the dark about this pursuit. The pursuits of Šolak and his representative Vladislav Ratajac were not adopted and do not reflect the strategy of the current management for the news businesses in Serbia. Claims that the new leadership sought to weaken Serbia's independent news channels are false. The very actions that Šolak and Ratajac now claim the group is taking today, as reported in the press, were in fact devised and pursued by Šolak and Ratajac at the beginning of the year. And to close the whole story, there was a position on behalf of N1, the cable TV station, and with this position will give you the whole picture. Today, United Group, in a statement not provided to N1, publicly rejected allegations that it threatens the editorial independence of N1 and Nova in Serbia and stressed that there are no plans to sell and that editorial decisions are solely the responsibility of the editorial boards. At the same time, the announcement shifts the focus to the alleged moves of the group's previous management and disputes between shareholders. Several times after the change of management, we requested written guarantees and confirmations that there was and would be no political influence on personnel and editorial decisions, with a clear definition of the content of the publicly released audio conversations between United Group director Stan Miller and Telekom Serbia director Miller-Lucic. Instead of concrete answers, we learned from today's announcement that 2 international advisors were hired in early July to strengthen independence. Not once were their names, roles and purpose of their engagement mentioned. Following the published conversation between the director of United Group and director of Telekom Serbia, keeping this information secret raises serious doubts about the intentions of their engagement. N1 Serbia expects United Group to guarantee a long-term stable framework for financing, editorial activities and production, no interference in editorial and personnel decisions, guaranteed distribution accessible to the audience in Serbia and the region, free from political pressure. These guarantees are standard protection in sensitive media environments and an expectation of our teams and viewers. The previous United Group management, in the event of a disruption of television broadcasting, under external pressure, presented the N1 editors with a model of transition to internet television with multi-year financial security for the entire team and production, which included 12 million euros per year for N1 and Nova for a period of 10 years. The previous United Group management assured us at the time that there was never any talk of selling our television stations to telecom or third parties. We asked the new administration to confirm the continuity of this model and turn it into a contractual and financial plan, without interfering in editorial policy. Our obligation to the audience is clear: professionals and free information. United Media editors have repeatedly asked the United Group management about the plans to reduce the group's media operations in Serbia, revealed in the conversation between Stan Miller and Vladimir Lucic published by OCCRP. We do not receive answers, but messages that open new questions. Repetition is the mother of wisdom, so we are once again looking for answers to the following questions. When Stan Miller tells Vladimir Lucic that he needs to make a company in Serbia small and thus hints at reducing United Group's media operation in Serbia, what does that mean? It's been almost a month since the conversation was published by OCCRP and we still don't have an answer. When Stan Miller uses the term KGB doc work, what does it mean? What is the meaning of the part of the conversation in which Miller tells Lucic that he knows that Alexander Vucic asked Nikos Statopoulos to quickly replace Alexander Subotic? Why are you mentioning the attraction of consultants for the two most watched televisions and media with the most credible and independent standards if you do not want to interfere in editorial policy? After all, if you really have no intention of changing the editorial policy, selling the media, reducing media operations, why not pay the 120 million euros you talk about in the announcement, with which the previous management wanted to ensure the independence and survival of N1 and Nova TV for the next 10 years, and thus dispel these doubts. In this way, you would ensure the stable operation of N1 and Nova TV independent of cable operators. We remind you that the previous management of United Group informed the editors of N1 and Nova before the sale of the cable operator SBB that if under pressure from the Serbian authorities or future buyers N1 Broadcasting was terminated, they would provide us with all the conditions to become an internet television and that 120 million euros would be allocated into a fund from which all employees would have their expenses covered for a whole decade so that we could continue to work freely. Those are the questions we are looking for answers to. These are questions that are essential for the work of the United Media editorial offices in Serbia. We are still waiting for answers. And to sum up, it would have been much easier if someone in BC Partners would have listened to my advice. In the beginning, when I said after publishing the conversation, the recording from the conversation between Miller and Lucic, that Mr. Stan Miller should be fired. If they would have done that, if they would have said that this was a mistake, they appoint somebody else, they come out publicly explaining what they plan to do, everything would have been great. But it's not. What happened is that there is a conversation, and this conversation is not happening within United Group. Even this message, this position has not been sent to the people working in the TV station. They saw it on Tanjuk News Agency and other media. And from there they understood what's the position of United Group. Actually, there is no, obviously, communication between Stan Miller and his employees. And the only way to go forward is to come clean about what they plan to do. It's not clear what BC Partners plans to do. How they want to develop further the assets in Bulgaria, in Greece, or in other Balkan countries, or what does it mean, all those things that are said regarding the media assets in Serbia. It's not clear. And to finish with the joke, what I did on Friday, I sent an email with a request to the PR team of United Group with a proposal for a live broadcasted interview with Mr. Stan Miller. Of course, I don't believe that he will agree, although this is the best thing to do. This is the best thing to do for everyone, to come and talk to somebody that is independent, to answer all questions, and to close the whole thing. Of course, if he cannot live with the fact that I asked for his resignation and I'm publicly advising his bosses to fire him, that's his problem. But I think that people having disagreements is part of democracy. That's how democracy works. At least that's how we are trying to do it in Bulgaria, although it's not easy. So I don't think this interview will happen anyway. I don't think that things will continue to develop in a good way in the future. I think that the whole scandal probably will continue, but you never know. We might get surprised. That's all from me. From time to time, I will continue to do videos in English when I think it's appropriate and the subject is interesting for more people outside of Bulgaria. See you soon.